welcome to In the Trenches. Today we've got this really great special gift with us today. This is Rick Frank from Business Finance Group, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
I said gift because I was sitting here thinking of this amazing gift that you gave Fitzy, and so can't tell you how much I appreciate that. That's done a lot for us and will do a lot for us in the future too. But tell us a little bit about Business Finance Group.
Sure.
I don't think a lot of people know about it.
Be happy to. Business Finance Group is a nonprofit. It's an economic development nonprofit entity. And we were legislated into being as a certified development company in the early 80s. We primarily exist to make and service owner-occupied commercial real estate loans for the Small Business Administration. And we'll make equipment loans and that type of thing too. But as a not-for-profit entity, if we're run properly, usually we do have some profits, and we like to redistribute those profits for some other economic development that we can't do, such as what Fitzy does. So we saw that as a great opportunity to give you a boost with your incubator.
We definitely appreciate that. And then hopefully more people here in Frederick will learn about your organization too.
Yeah.
Because I understand that you guys are number one, number two in the nation?
In the nation, we're usually in the top 20.
Okay.
In the Middle Atlantic region, we're the top.
Okay.
There's about 200 of our similar type entities in the country. And we have been in the top 20 for probably 15, 20 years.
So you said it's in conjunction with Small Business Administration. So what does that actually mean?
Well, like the Federal Reserve, the FDIC would be regulators in the banking industry.
Right.
The Small Business Administration is our regulator, and we exist to make these loans on behalf of the Small Business Administration. So it's their funds. We make the loans and service the loans. So it's more of a cradle to grave with us, with the loans that we do make.
And then isn't my understanding that you have to be in partnership with a bank as well?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't make our loan. It's called a 504 loan, and nobody really knows. Nobody other than in the industry knows what that means. But the 504 is just it's named after the code that was legislated into being, and we do have to have a bank partner. The loan takes the form of a second trust behind the lender's first trust.
Okay.
And typically we get our referrals from banks.
Okay.
CPAs, real estate agents, and that centers of influence like that.
Okay.
But we cannot make our loan without, and I say bank loosely. It could be a bank, a credit union, a non-bank lender.
Okay.
But it has to be a first trust lender.
A non-bank lender, so it could be a developer or a broker?
Well, it could be.
Investor?
Non-bank lenders are entities that exist that operate like banks that make loans but are not regulated by banking regulators.
Okay, very interesting. So that's part of the reason why not many people know about it.
Yeah.
So if somebody was interested, or let me back up, what would be a good candidate for?
A great candidate, the perfect candidate for us is a small business, and that's loosely defined because our loans can go up to $5 million.
Okay.
$6.5 million if it's a manufacturer.
Okay.
And we are 40% of the project. So we've financed some projects that are 25 million, our portion being a smaller piece. Right. The perfect candidate is that small business person that wants to own their property and occupy it and are leasing right now. Or another prime candidate is one who wants to expand if they own now and want to sell and buy something new or just expand their current property.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm thinking of a lot of different people who probably did not know at all about this, which is a real shame. Because I think what you guys do is amazing.
And the features of the program enable banks to diversify their portfolio some. And again, I'll use banks, meaning the entire financial lending population out there besides us. But normally the project in total, the bank will take 50%, the SBA takes 40%, and the borrower is in for a small equity injection of 10%. Another very big benefit to this program is either a 20 or 25-year fixed rate on the SBA's portion.
Oh, okay.
And
Wow.
currently that 25-year fixed rate is 3.5%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great deal, and it's not that well publicized, and we try to market as well as the SBA, and you know, we'll make anywhere between 80 and 110 loans in a year's time for somewhere between 80 and 100 million dollars in aggregate loan volume. And that represents 40% of the project, so we're stimulating the economy with projects that usually total about 200 million annually.
Okay, so people would not contact you directly. They would.
They can.
They can.
They can, and we do have repeat borrowers
Okay.
who come back, and those borrowers will contact, if they have the opportunity, will tell other borrowers about it.
Right.
But the most prevalent way that we get business in the door is through the banking entities that know about us, want to mitigate some of their risk by having a 50% first trust on the project,
Okay.
with the SBA in second behind them, in second position.
Yeah, I think it's a shame that a lot of people don't know about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great product.
Yeah. Well, how'd you get into it?
Well, I'm a career banker. I started in banking in 1981 and was on the board of this company for 20 years before the president retired. We did an executive search, and a couple of the board members approached me about taking the job. And at first I said no, because I was chairman of the board,
Right.
and was active in the executive search. But the more I thought about it, I thought I might like to do this. It was a little bit of a change. It's a little bit of the same, but a little bit of a change. And I get to travel around with my officers. We've got officers in Norfolk, Richmond, D.C., Anne Arundel County, Hedgesville, West Virginia.
No clue where that is. Okay.
It's in the Eastern Panhandle, because
Okay.
we cover that Eastern Panhandle, West Virginia, and in Fairfax. And it gives me a chance to get out with them. Still do a little bit of banking. Still see
Right.
some of my banking friends from the bygone days, and still get a chance to do something that's very satisfying in stimulating the economy and job creation.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate what you do. I appreciate everything you've done for FITCI, that's for sure. So anything that we can do to help, I'm happy to do that.
Well, I think you're doing great
Thank
in
you.
doing what you do in
Yeah.
incubating businesses, and those businesses could potentially become one of our customers in
Yeah.
the future.
Well, several of them that I'm thinking about, a few of them are expanding, a few of them are building their own facilities, and this is something we should be telling them about. So it's definitely on our list of things to let people know.
Yeah, well,
So-
absolutely, and that's really why we exist. We were, I mentioned we were legislated in being in the early '80s. It was created as a job creation program,
Oh, wow.
and we have to report as part of our compliance. We have to report job creation. Each loan has to create a certain amount of jobs per 100,000 of loan funds.
Oh, wow, okay.
And there are other ways to get around that if need be. If there's not a particular job creation, if it meets public policy goal, and some other ways. Not that we're trying to get around it,
Right.
but some businesses just don't increase jobs even if they change locations or go from a leasing arrangement to a purchase.
Wow. Exciting.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
exciting.
it is exciting.
So
It's
tell-
satisfying.
Yeah, I imagine so. So tell me a little bit about you as a person. You said you're in banking before.
That's right.
Since we really do believe in mentorship and coaching at FITCI. Have you had a mentor?
I've had a couple
Yeah.
in my life. Some in the business, and some outside of banking.
Okay.
One that comes to mind, who has passed, is the largest developer in the Fredericksburg area, Carl Silver.
Okay.
He really developed. That's where I live, Fredericksburg, Virginia. But he was just a nuts and bolts, down to earth businessman, the most successful in the Fredericksburg area. Developed, businesses, and it's beyond imagination what he did in his lifetime. Started out as a used car dealer in Tappahannock, and just grew to be the most successful guy I know in Fredericksburg. But he had a lot of advice for me, and he kind of boiled it down very simply. He said, when you're trying to make a decision that you just can't get over the hump, take the legal pad, and you put positive on one side, you put the negatives on one side, and you list everything you can, and then you examine those. And I've had other mentors in banking. Ed Allison, who I worked with and then for in a prior bank.
Yeah.
Was a great friend of mine still, and he was a mentor.
What would be one of the things that he taught you?
One thing is to treat all customers the same. It's that even-handed approach, whether it's a small customer financially or a wealthy customer, that everybody appreciates being treated the same.
I would agree with
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone's important. Because once you lose the customer, they're gone. You know, that's true.
for
And
sure.
I grew up in a little retail environment, actually. I grew up in a small town, Colonial Beach, Virginia, and my grandparents ran a 5 and 10 cent store. And I worked in that store. And I knew the value of keeping a customer. And if you can't satisfy the customer, at least let them leave without being angry and
Right.
no chance of coming back, because that was the sole survival in a small retail environment in a small town.
Yeah, I get that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frederick's kind of small too,
Yeah.
in that way that everyone knows everyone. I mean, it's not a really small, but it's that way as well.
Right.
So yeah, we
Yeah.
talk a lot about that.
Yeah,
So,
Frederick
very nice.
reminds me a lot of Fredericksburg. Yeah,
People get them
Yes.
confused sometimes
know
when
they
when
do.
they don't know.
yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But thank you for that. So we love having quotes and stuff here. So one of the things that we do is our graduation gifts is we give, it's a nice plaque that has all of these different quotes on it from all of our advisors and mentors and stuff over the years. So do you have any quotes that you or kind of inspire you or that's your favorites?
Well, I always liked a very simple one that I'll credit Cal Ripken Jr., who's quoting Cal Ripken Sr.,
Okay.
who said very simply, life is like a bank. You can't take out much more than you put in. And it was just, a great, I think just a great simple quote. And, Cal Sr. and Cal Jr., I will say, are all about morality and ethics and hard work.
And that sums up you, I think.
Well,
just as-
thank you. Thank you.
From what I know
I'd like
about
to
you.
think
Yeah.
that is true. But anyway, they are really role models for me, both of those guys.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Well, thank you for coming in today. I mean, I really do appreciate it. I hope this is something where we can help out your organization by getting people to know more about this, as well as about you.
Well, you're doing a great job for the business community in Frederick, and we appreciate that so much. And as part of our market area, I can't tell you how important your function is.
Oh,
So
well,
we
thank
do
you. Yeah.
appreciate that and salute you. So,
I feel like the luckiest person ever. If I can just sit around
Yeah.
and work with people in their businesses, I am a very happy girl. So
that's great.
I'm very blessed. And I'm surrounded by amazing people, too. So thank you for what you do.
That's super. Thank you.
Well, have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
You guys, thanks for watching In the Trenches, and learn more about our programs on fitzy.org as well as our advisors. Thanks so much.